You know, usually when we sit down to map out a week for these deep dives, um, we're looking for the path of least resistance.
Right, you want the green lights.
Exactly. We want to know when to sign the contract or when to ask for a favor, maybe plan a romantic dinner. But the source material we have for the week of February 23rd to March 1st, 2026.
Yeah, not a lot of green lights there.
No, definitely not. It's actually flagging a very specific date at the end of the week with like flashing red sirens.
It really is. And it's rare to see a forecast point so aggressively to a single day.
Sunday, March 1st.
Sunday the 1st, yeah, as the single most intense day. But if you read the full report by Astrolocap, specifically the work of Gaia Ross, you realize you can't just skip ahead to Sunday. The pressure builds up mathematically all week long.
And actually, mathematically is the perfect word here, because we aren't just looking at a generic horoscope column where everyone just gets a vague sentence.
No, this is highly specific.
Right. This source uses a system of coefficients. It's basically an attempt to quantify planetary energy, assigning numerical values to mass social behavior.
Which is fascinating.
It feels a bit like Moneyball, but for the cosmos.
That is a great way to put it. It transforms the abstract into hard data. It asks, is the energy positive or negative? And crucially, what's the magnitude?
Right.
So for this week, the headline number revolves around Mars. We're looking at a Mars transit in Aquarius with a negative coefficient of 2.
-2. I mean, that sounds clinical, maybe even a little small. But in the system, a negative coefficient on Mars it's heavy.
Very heavy.
Mars is the engine of action, aggression, war. When that engine starts running in reverse or in a negative state, you get friction.
You get gears grinding.
Yeah.
Exactly. And because it's in Aquarius, which is a fixed air sign, that friction creates a very volatile, unpredictable atmosphere. It's not just a physical fight, it's ideological. The forecast explicitly links this energy to aggressive conflict and electronic disruption. And the stakes in the source material are incredibly high. We're talking about global geopolitics.
Yeah, involving massive figures. Like a source mentions Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, right down to the stability of the euro and crypto markets.
Right.
So I guess the mission for this deep dive is to decode those numbers. We really need to figure out who is in the crosshairs of this Mars energy and who might actually benefit from it.
Because it's not bad news for everyone.
Exactly. As the source points out, it's highly specific. And that's where the deep dive really begins. We need to understand the mechanics of why one person crashes while another person soars under the exact same sky.
So let's start with that dominant theme, the Mars factor.
Okay, yeah.
The source identifies the entire week as being under this Mars and Aquarius shadow, but it lists specific peak dates where the heat really turns up.
Let me check my notes. February 24th, 27th, 28th, and obviously March 1st.
Those are the trigger points. Now, usually people hear Mars is bad this week, and they just assume it applies to everyone across the board.
Which makes sense.
Right, but Astrolocat's forecast distinguishes between the transiting Mars, which is where the planet is right now in the sky, and your natal Mars.
Where it was when you were born.
Precisely.
And this distinction is crucial to the whole system. The source says this specific Aquarius Mars is going to negatively affect people with natal Sun or Mars in Gemini and Sagittarius.
And to a lesser extent, Leo, Virgo, and Pisces. But the laser focus is on the Gemini-Sagittarius axis.
The mutable signs.
Yeah. They're taking the absolute brunt of this fixed Aquarius pressure.
Which brings us to probably the most striking example in the text. We have two world leaders who are famously Geminis.
Donald Trump and Xi Jinping.
Right. If you were just reading a standard newspaper horoscope, you'd assume they'd both have a terrible week.
You would. But the source explicitly contrasts them. And we should be clear, we're just reporting what the analysis says here.
Of course. Completely impartial. We're just looking at the data they provided.
So for Trump, the forecast is pretty stark. It says, and I'm quoting here, Trump might cry.
It's a vivid image. Not exactly what you expect to read about a former president.
No, it's not. Trump is a Gemini sun, but crucially, his natal Mars is in Leo.
Okay.
The forecast suggests that because of his specific Gemini placement, combined with that Leo Mars, he draws Mars's lightning.
Ouch.
Yeah. The negative coefficient hits him as communication breakdowns, severe conflict, or even accidents. It's a week where his usual bluster might backfire spectacularly.
But then you look at Xi Jinping, also a Gemini sun, but the source says she might laugh while Trump cries. That feels incredibly specific.
It is, and that's the fascinating part of the mechanics here. While Xi is a Gemini sun, His natal Mars is in Cancer.
Right. Different engine under the hood.
Exactly. In this specific system, for this specific week, the Cancer-Mars placement actually receives positive effects from the transiting Mars.
So even though they share the same main sign, their Mars placement changes the outcome completely.
It flips the script entirely.
Yeah.
She gets a strategic advantage from the aggression, while Trump gets the chaos.
It really highlights that you can't just look at surface-level traits. You have to look at the underlying mechanics.
Absolutely.
Now, the source also broadens this Mars conflict to actual organizations. It mentions NATO specifically.
Yes. NATO as an entity has a natal Mars in Aries.
And Mars rules Aries.
It does. That's its home turf. Usually that's a position of immense strength. But in a week where the Mars coefficient is a -2...
It turns inward.
Exactly. The forecast predicts infighting within NATO. The warrior energy has nowhere productive to go, so it attacks the structure itself.
Wow.
Or, alternatively, it manifests as a sudden, hyper-aggressive shift into an attack position externally. It's a real hair-trigger week for the alliance.
Speaking of hair triggers, there is a specific warning in the text regarding Iran.
Yes, and this connects back to Trump.
Okay, how so?
Well, in this forecast, Iran is associated with Aries energy. The source warns that Trump the Gemini, who was already having a notoriously bad week, needs to be extremely careful regarding Iran and Khamenei.
It feels like the setup for a trap. You have a leader prone to communication errors dealing with a nation associated with the planet of war, all under a negative Mars transit.
It's a recipe for miscalculation. And it's not just Trump. The source mentions Macron in France and Maduro in Venezuela are also caught in this crossfire.
Maduro specifically gets a very dark warning.
He does. The source warns his life could actually be in danger. He has heavy Sagittarius influence in his chart, which sits directly opposite Gemini.
So he takes the full force of that Mars opposition.
Right. It's not just political pressure. The source implies physical danger.
It's heavy stuff. Honestly, if you just looked at the Mars lines, you'd want to just hide under the covers until March 2nd.
True.
But the week isn't a monolith, is it? There is a pivot that happens right at the start on Monday, February 23rd.
Yes, that's the counter-narrative. Monday has a completely different flavor because of Uranus. We have a Uranus transit with a coefficient of +4.
+4. That is a massive jump from Mars's -2.
It is significant. Uranus is the electric shock. It rules sudden change, technology, revolution, electricity. When the coefficient is that high and positive, it means high-intensity breakthroughs.
Frantic but potential energy.
Exactly.
But again, there's a winner and a loser list in the source. Who needs to watch out for the lightning bolt on Monday?
Monday is identified as risky for the fixed signs. So that's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius.
Okay.
If you have major placements there, Uranus brings disruption rather than breakthrough. It shakes the foundation.
The source uses Israel as the case study here, right?
Yes. Israel has a Taurus sun and a Leo Mars.
Both fixed sign.
Both fixed signs. Both on the watch-out list for Uranus. The source explicitly says Israel needs to be very careful regarding Iran on Monday.
Wait, we just talked about Iran in the Mars context. Is this different?
It is. In the Mars context, Iran was Aries. But here, the source notes, Iran has a natal Mars in Pisces.
And Pisces likes this Uranus energy.
Loves it. The Pisces Mars receives positive effects from Uranus. And the source uses a very specific, slightly chilling phrase here.
What's that?
Electronic weapons.
Electronic weapons. That sounds like something out of a sci-fi novel.
It does, but in a modern geopolitical context, it implies cyber warfare. On Monday, the advantage isn't physical troops or tanks. That's Mars stuff.
Right.
The advantage is technological, cyber, electronic. And that advantage tilts toward those with mutable Mars placements like Iran and away from the fixed placements of Israel.
So Monday is really a battle of frequencies, not front lines.
That's a great way to summarize it. And that concept of frequencies actually applies to you, the listener, personally, too. There was a great piece of advice for regular folks on Monday.
Oh, the laziness warning.
Yes.
I feel like I needed to hear this one.
We all do sometimes.
Yeah.
The source says if you have low coefficients personally, meaning if you are acting lethargic, lazy, or just low vibe, Uranus will punish you.
That doesn't manifest.
As extreme restlessness, anxiety, or nervous tension.
So you can't just sit still and let the energy wash over you.
No, absolutely not. You have to match the frequency. The advice is to adopt a high-frequency mindset. Be active, be quick, embrace change.
Because if you try to stay stagnant on Monday, Uranus is going to shake you until you move.
Exactly. It's much better to move voluntarily.
Okay, so Monday is a sprint. But surely there's a moment to catch our breath. The source mentions some supermoon days.
Yes, finally, some stability. Tuesday, February 24th, and Saturday, February 28th. On these days, the moon has a +4 coefficient.
Oh, that sounds much more comforting.
It is. When the moon is high coefficient, it brings emotional security, confidence, productivity. These are the days to actually get work done.
So if Monday is for brainstorming and breaking things, Tuesday is for building.
Exactly.
Who benefits the most here?
Well, Tuesday the 24th favors fire and air Mars placements. So Leo, Aquarius. Saturday the 28th swings towards Earth and water Taurus, Virgo, Scorpio.
The source points out that even Trump and Elon Musk catch a break here.
They do. Despite Trump's generally terrible Mars week, Tuesday the 24th offers him a window of success because his Leo Mars resonates with the moon.
Same for Elon Musk.
Same for Musk. It's a safe harbor day for them.
It also mentions Turkey, specifically regarding security.
Yes, Turkey has a Nidal Mars in Libra. The forecast says specifically on February 28 that Saturday moon day Turkey's security and efficiency will increase. It's a good day for national operations or consolidation.
So we have the electronic chaos of Monday, the productive pockets of Tuesday and Saturday, and the looming threat of Sunday. But we need to talk about the physical Earth itself. The source includes a forecast for seismic activity.
Yes, this is a more sobering part of the report. Astrolocat identifies February 21st as an intersection point, which sort of sets the stage, but points to February 25th as a high-risk day for earthquakes.
It specifically mentions weak fault lines.
It does. The source uses astrocartography, which is mapping planetary lines over the globe, to pinpoint where the stress is highest.
What are the danger zones?
The list is fairly extensive. Iran, China, Japan, Venezuela, Italy, and Turkey.
And what's the advice for people listening in those regions?
It's mostly about awareness. The coefficient for earthquakes spikes on the 25th. If you're in a high-risk zone, specifically Italy or Turkey where the lines intersect, you just ensure your emergency kit is ready.
Right. It's not about panic.
Not at all. It's just acknowledging that the physical stress on the Earth's crust is mathematically higher than usual that day.
Makes sense. Let's pivot to something a little less terrifying but equally volatile, the markets.
Ah, yes.
We had a rapid-fire list of financial forecasts in the source. And obviously we have to say it right up front. None of this is financial advice.
Strictly for educational and entertainment purposes, yes. Do
Yeah.
not trade based on this.
But the trends are consistent with the astrological themes we've discussed. Let's start with precious metals.
Gold and silver are looking bullish.
Yeah.
Gold specifically creates opportunities on February 24th and 28th. Silver joins the party on the 28th.
Which aligns perfectly with those safe haven moon days we just talked about.
Exactly. When the moon is strong, people flock to security. And gold is the ultimate security asset.
What about oil?
Brent petrol is predicted to rise on February 24th. This usually tracks with geopolitical tension. If there's friction with Iran or Russia, oil responds.
And then there's crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum.
This is where the Monday forecast really clicks into place. The source predicts a rise for both Bitcoin and Ethereum on Monday, February 23rd.
The Uranus day.
The Uranus day. Uranus rules the digital, the electronic, the decentralized. When Uranus hits that +4 coefficient, the electronic money tends to spike. It's a direct correlation in this system.
Meanwhile, the traditional stock market, the source uses the bias T100 as a proxy here. Seems a bit confused.
It's a roller coaster. Predicted to drop on the 24th, but then bounce back and rise on February 26th.
It reflects the overall volatility of the week.
Yeah, uncertainty is the only certainty for traditional equities this week.
Okay, we've covered the world stage, the Earth's crust, the markets, but I really want to bring this down to the individual listener. We need to talk about Sunday, March 1st.
The red zone day.
The red zone. The source breaks this down by rising sign. And this is important. We aren't talking about your sun sign here.
Right.
We are talking about the rising sign, which determines the house where this Mars aggression takes place. Can you explain that briefly?
Sure. For those who need a quick refresher, the planets are the actors. So Mars is the angry guy with the sword. But the house is the room in your life where that actor is standing. On March 1st, Mars is going to throw a tantrum in a very specific room of your house.
Okay, so let's walk through the rooms. Let's say I'm an Aries rising. Where is Mars?
For Aries rising, Mars is transiting your 11th house. This is the sector of social circles, friends, long-term hopes.
So what's the risk?
A sudden falling out with a friend or a group.
Well,
You might find yourself in a heated argument within a community you belong to. It's social friction.
got it. What about Taurus rising?
You're looking at the 10th house. This is your career and public reputation.
Oh, high visibility danger.
Be very careful with authority figures, bosses, or how you present yourself publicly on Sunday. A mistake here could damage your standing. Basically, do not send that angry email to your boss.
Good advice, Gemini rising.
Ninth house.
Yeah.
This covers travel, higher education, beliefs. The friction could come from a travel delay, a legal issue, or getting into a massive ideological debate.
So maybe avoid talking politics at dinner on Sunday.
Highly recommended.
Cancer rising.
The eighth house. This one is intense. The eighth house rules shared finances, debts, and crisis. It can also be psychological.
So keep an eye on the bank account.
Yeah, avoid arguments about money with a partner and be careful with debt. It's absolutely not the day to apply for a loan or demand someone pay you back.
Leo rising.
Seventh house. This is the big one for relationships. The seventh house is the house of the spouse and, quote, open enemies.
Open enemies. That's reassuring.
Right. Mars here means conflict with your partner is highly likely. If you're a Leo rising, Sunday is not the day to bring up sensitive topics with your significant other. Just let it slide.
Virgo rising.
Sixth house. This is health, daily routine, and coworkers. You might feel physically inflamed or drained. Or maybe a project you're working on goes off the rails.
So prioritize physical health.
Yes. If you feel a cold coming on, respect it. Rest.
Libra rising.
Fifth house. The house of creativity, romance, and children. You might deal with tantrums,
From the kids.
either from your actual children or a romantic partner. It creates drama in the fun parts of life. It's a bit of buzzkill transit.
Scorpio rising.
Fourth house. Home and family. The argument happens at the dinner table. It could involve parents or real estate. Domestic peace is threatened here.
So maybe fix that leaky faucet another day.
Exactly. Put away the hammer.
Sagittarius rising.
Third house. Communication, siblings, and short trips. This is classic road rage territory. Drive carefully and watch your words. Arguments with siblings or neighbors are very common with this transit. Your tongue is going to be sharper than you think.
Capricorn rising.
Second house. This is your personal money and values. Watch your wallet. An unexpected expense could pop up, or you might get into a dispute over what you own. Keep your receipts.
Aquarius rising.
First house. This is the house of self. Mars is literally in your sign, right on your doorstep.
That sounds intense.
You will feel this physically. You might be agitated, aggressive, or prone to accidents. You really need to burn off this energy exercise, run, do something physical, or it will blow up in your face.
And finally, Pisces rising.
12th house. The subconscious and hidden enemies. This is the trickiest one because you might not see the attack coming.
Hidden enemies.
It could be someone undermining you behind the scenes, or it could just be your own internal anxiety spiking. It's a day for solitude and reflection, not engagement.
Wow. So really, no matter who you are, there is a specific area of your life that needs a little extra padding on Sunday.
Exactly. Forewarned is forearmed. If you know the storm is hitting the relationship room, you don't schedule a high-stakes date night.
And if it's hitting the money room, you don't go on a shopping spree. You know, it brings us to what I think is the most interesting philosophical point in the source material. There's this footnote that I think defines this entire approach to astrology.
Ah, the quote about behavior versus possibility.
Yes. It says, natal planets symbolize behavior, while houses symbolize possibilities.
It's a really profound distinction. It means the house tells you the weather forecast, the possibility of rain in your career sector, for example.
Right.
But the natal planet, that's your behavior. That determines if you bring an umbrella or if you just stand outside and shout at the clouds.
So even if the coefficient is -2 and the forecast says conflict is coming, we aren't just helpless robots in all this.
We aren't. The stars provide the energy, the raw mathematics of the moment. But we provide the reaction.
That's empowering.
It is. If you know Mars is bringing aggression to your 7th house, you have the agency to choose patience. You could try to mathematically counterbalance the stars with your own behavior.
That is the ultimate challenge to carry into the week. Can we outsmart the coefficients?
It's certainly worth a try.
Listeners, tread carefully this week. Watch those red zones. Maybe secure your electronics on Monday and take a deep breath before you react to anything on Sunday. Think about your behavior. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Stay safe out there.